The world of Panem is once again on the brink. In Sunrise on the Reaping, Suzanne Collins returns to the brutal, politically charged universe of The Hunger Games, taking readers back to the 50th. Hunger Games, also known as the second quarter quell, the Capitol, ever eager to reinforce its power, demands twice the number of tributes, 48 children, instead of the usual 24, amid the fanfare and fear. One boy from District 4 rises unwillingly into the spotlight. His name is Hamish Abernathy. We meet Hamish as a sharp-tongued, clever 16-year-old, with a rebellious streak and little patience for authority. Though he's not physically imposing, his wit, observation, and instincts set him apart. He lives with the daily hardship and poverty familiar to all districts, but unlike most, he questions the Capitol's hold more vocally than is wise. His relationships are few but deep, particularly with his mother and younger brother, who become his emotional anchors as his name is drawn at the reaping. Thrown into the blood-drenched spectacle of the games, Hamish is immediately struck by how inhuman and calculated the Capitol's system is. The other tributes aren't just children, they are tools, pawns, and, at times, monsters shaped by fear and desperation. Among them are Myceli Donner, a sharp, resourceful girl from District 12 who initially dismisses Hamish, and a hauntingly cold career tribute named Thalos, whose ruthlessness quickly earns him a deadly reputation in the arena. As training begins, Hamish leans into his greatest strength strategy. While others perfect knife-throwing and combat, he watches, memorizes, calculates. He understands that brute strength won't save him, but knowing people might. He plays the Capitol's game, feigning charm and alliance. But underneath, he's already planning how to outwit not only the other tributes, but the game makers themselves. Once inside the arena, a sprawling, mountainous landscape filled with cliffs, caves, and unpredictable weather, the games erupt into chaos. Blood is spilled fast and early. Hamish survives the initial slaughter by sheer reflex and luck. But what follows is a long mental battle of outsmarting opponents and avoiding traps. He forms a temporary alliance with Myceli, whose resourcefulness and moral compass challenge his own cynical view. Together, they make a formidable pair until the alliance shatters under the pressure of the kill-or-be-killed rule. When Myceli is mortally wounded by genetically engineered Jabberjays, Hamish stays with her until she dies. The scene is heartbreaking and defining his first major emotional fracture in the games. Alone again, Hamish discovers something others haven't noticed: the edge of the arena. And more importantly, its flaws. He observes the timing of the force field resets and environmental triggers. When only a few tributes remain, including the monstrous Thalos, Hamish uses the Capitol's own technology against them. In a final confrontation near a cliff, Hamish tricks Thalos into charging at him, dodging at the last second, so Thalos is killed by the arena's manipulated terrain. But the Capitol doesn't like to be beaten at its own game. In a shocking move, the game makers trigger a final trap and energy pulse meant to kill Hamish as punishment for showing up the system. But once again he survives, this time using a broken piece of a force field to shield himself. It's a move that costs him dearly, physically and emotionally, but it wins him the games. He is crowned victor, but not hero. When he returns to District 12, the Capitol makes an example of him by killing his family and friends, punishing defiance with silence. Hamish's victory becomes a curse. From that point on, he numbs himself with alcohol, masking trauma and grief, becoming the version we first met in the Hunger Games through Katniss Everdeen's eyes, themes, and analysis. At its core, Sunrise on the Reaping explores survivors' guilt, rebellion under oppression, and the weaponization of trauma. Hamish's story is not one of triumph, but of awakening. His defiance, his intelligence, and ultimately, his inability to save those he loves set the stage for the future resistance. Suzanne Collins doesn't glorify violence. Instead, she exposes its cost. Through Hamish, we understand that rebellion is born not from glory, but from unbearable loss. Sunrise on the Reaping isn't just a prequel, it's the emotional and moral foundation of the rebellion that Katniss later leads.